I am Ricardo Castillo, an assistant professor of epidemiology. I'm originally from Lima, Peru, where I earned my veterinary degree in 2007 from the National University of San Marcos, the oldest university in the Americas. At that time, I thought I would become a traditional small animal veterinarian or maybe work in wildlife conservation in the Amazon. But during my training, I learned about veterinary public health, and that completely shifted my path. I became fascinated by zoonotic diseases, those that spread from animals to humans. That interest took me across Peru, working on neglected zoonosis in the North Coast, in Lima, and in the highlands. These are diseases that hit the poorest communities the hardest and often receive very little attention or funding. Those experiences pushed me to deepen my training in epidemiology and global health. I went on to complete a PhD in epidemiology and a master's in international health at Johns Hopkins in 2014. After that, I came to Penn Medicine for postdoctoral training, and I joined the faculty as an assistant professor in 2020. My research at Penn sits at the intersection of global health, epidemiology, and what we now call precision public health, using data and technology to make disease prevention smarter and more equitable. Most of my work focuses on zoonotic diseases, especially dog-mediated rabies, which remains one of the most fatal and inequitable infectious diseases in the world. I lead studies that use high-resolution spatial data to understand why rabies persist in certain neighborhoods and how social and economic inequalities shape disease risk. This has included everything from mapping feral dog populations living in caves on the outskirts of Latin American cities to identifying surveillance cold spots where rabies cases are most likely to be missed, to using genomic tools to evaluate whether disease elimination efforts are truly working. Right now, I'm leading a large randomized controlled trial in Peru, testing new vaccination strategies, using mathematical optimization and mobile apps to guide door-to-door vaccination teams. The goal is to dramatically improve vaccination coverage and prevent the kind of outbreaks that devastate communities. Beyond rabies, I also work on vector-borne diseases such as Chagas and on other neglected infections like cystic echinococcosis, a dog-mediated zoonosis that remains one of the most burdensome parasitic diseases in Latin America. Across all these projects, I aim to build tools and evidence that strengthen public health systems, reduce inequities, and ultimately control or prevent epidemics before they start. This work matters because the same strategies we use to control dog rabies, especially mass vaccination, are the backbone of how we respond to epidemics in humans. We saw it during COVID-19, and we will see it again in future pandemics. If we can improve how we deliver vaccines in challenging settings, we're strengthening the entire public health system. My team is developing computational tools that help us design smarter, more efficient vaccination campaigns that put resources and vaccines exactly where they are needed instead of relying on guesswork. And we're not stopping at the computer. We are testing these approaches in real communities with real vaccination teams to make sure they actually work in practice and can be scaled nationally. A major part of this work is also about equity. Diseases like rabies, Chagas, echinococcosis disproportionately affect the poorest neighborhoods, the ones furthest from the health services. By improving surveillance and expanding access to vaccination, we are closing gaps that have existed for generations. Looking ahead, I plan to build on my work on canine rabies by combining genomic surveillance, precision vaccination, and an integrative One Health perspective to help countries achieve complete elimination of dog-mediated human rabies. The World Health Organization and other international agencies set 2030 as the target year for this goal. And while some remaining hotspots make it difficult, I believe we can make real progress with smarter, more targeted strategies. I also plan to use this same precision public health mindset to tackle other neglected diseases that mainly affect underserved communities. For example, with cystic echinococcosis, a serious parasitic disease caused by a dog tapeworm, we're taking a One Health approach. On the animal side, we're using GPS collars to track dog movement and identify where transmission is most likely to occur. so interventions can be directed where they will have the greatest impact. On the human side, we're working with surgeons and clinicians to better understand which patients benefit from specific treatments based on characteristics of their parasitic cysts. My goal is to protect families by intervening at the source of infection in animals while simultaneously improving the clinical care available to affected patients. Overall, I want to continue working at the intersection of global health research and real-world implementation, where science can directly improve people's lives.